fifth chapter, 11th verse. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavadyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavadyapi.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Tadvaga visargo janataga viplavam.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Yasmin pratislokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya yasho ankitani yat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Yasmin pratislokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat. Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Tadvaga visargo janataga viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Yasmin pratislokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyasya nantasya yashonkitani yat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava. What do you mean? Tat, that, vak, vocabulary, visargaha, creation, janata, the people in general, agha, since, viplava, revolutionary, yasmin, in which, pratishlokam, each and every stanza, abhaddhavati, irregularly composed, api, in spite of, namani, transcendental names, etc. Anantasya, of the unlimited Lord, Yashaha, glories, Ankitani, depicted, Yat, what, Shrinvanti, do hear, Gayanti, do sing, Grinanti, do accept, Sadhavaha, the purified men who are honest. Translation. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. The purport is kind of big, but we can read it.
You can do paragraph wise also you can do.
Yeah. Mataji, start.
Or you want us to read?
Yeah, okay.
No, Shatrava Mataji last time she did like, if it is too big, you read one paragraph, you talk about it.
Yeah.
Then another paragraph talk about it. Like that she did. It's up to you.
First paragraph. It is a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from a stalk of poison, should accept gold even from a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no issues in the no business in political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God-fearing, pure-hearted and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is due not to the issue in question, but the polluted atmosphere of the sage. Systematically, there is propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the most supermost good as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart. And naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of modern politicians and the leaders of the people. If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature, conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and re-spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of the society will still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. When there is fire in a house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who may be foreigners, and yet without knowing the language, the victims of the fire express themselves, and the neighbors understand the need even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature, yet it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is a natural instinct, because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it, because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults. For it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter. Tadva visargo janata vikto yashmin pratishlokamabaddhavatyapi namanyantasya yashokitani yad shunvanti gayanti vrinanti sadhava. Om Adnanatimirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganamrita Shri Sakantanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, I am not at all qualified to speak about this verse. This is such when I was reading this verse and hearing about this verse, I felt like, oh my God, this is such a great verse that inspired many devotees. So I'm not at all qualified to speak, but as this verse says, I'm just hearing and repeating. So this verse has been a very revolutionary verse for many devotees, especially very significant for ISKCON devotees. It has been very significant in predicting the appearance of Srila Prabhupada and also all the literary work that he is going to do and how he is going to spread the transcendental message for the people, misdirected people and misguided people in this world. It also this verse also describes how Srila Prabhupada, brought the Bhagavad Dharma to the West, translated all the literatures into English and presented it to the people who don't even know what Bhagavad Dharma is, and who he presented in such an expertly way that people immediately got attracted to it and started actually practicing and reading and following these transcendental literatures. It was very amazing when I read, and then Prabhupada himself saying that this effort will fail. I mean, Prabhupada was so bold in making that statement that it will fail, but still I will try. I mean, when he came, he was 70 and he's saying it will fail, but still I will try. So that gives a lot of hope against hope in what the efforts that minimalistic efforts that we do. I mean, I know for personal purpose, I am not at all qualified to even speak about Bhagavatam or any translated literature as such, but because of Srila Prabhupada, we are sitting here discussing, and because he gave us the hope that at least we can hear and repeat, it gives a lot of encouragement and inspiration to at least read and repeat the same message, so that whoever is reading and whoever is hearing, whoever is repeating gets the maximum benefit of hearing, participating in that activity of following the translated scripture. So this verse focuses on 5 things. It predicts how Srila Prabhupada is going to do the transcendental literary work and preaching, and it also discusses about the qualities of great thinkers and qualities of saintly people, and the importance of transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and nature of Kali Yuga and our responsibilities in handling, especially who understand at least the importance if not the knowledge, and our responsibility towards the world coming from the land where Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita came from. So in this verse, Srila Prabhupada says how this transcendental literature has to be spread all over the world. And when the verse explains how Srila Prabhupada is translating the scriptures very expertly, and he's explaining that these literatures are accepted by honest people. So let's look at what these honest people are. What are the qualities of these honest and pure people who can receive this message? These honest people will look best amongst the verse, as the translation says. They look for best amongst the verse, like a honeybee who will go just to the flower, even though the rest of the area is filthy. It doesn't care. It just goes to the flower, picks up the honey and comes back. Like that, these great people, they don't look around what is bad, they only look for the what is good in that place. So, and also they will, they are like the best receivers and transmitters. They collect the best knowledge and spread it all over the world so that people can benefit it too. So, Srila Prabhupada here in this verse he says, one has to be a great receiver and a transmitter. We should discard all the literatures which are written for materialistic pleasure, and then we should accept the higher quality of work and read and accept the literature, those transcendental literatures and spread it, because in this world of in this Kali Yuga, which is very quarrelistic, when Prabhupada was writing the translation of this verse, when we read, there was a war between China and India. But today, there is a war almost every day happening. Some days it's in Turkey, some days in Syria, some days somewhere else. So the war is happening every day, and people with the slightest provocation are tending towards fighting. So because people are not God conscious, these kind of things are happening. So Prabhupada is saying, when this knowledge, if there is, we cannot just say we have to discard materialistic knowledge. When we are discarding, it has to be filled with something else. A good, if we want to take out bad, we have to fill with good. So what Prabhupada is saying is, we have to give lower priority or lower preference to such knowledge, materialistic literatures, and fill it with the higher taste, which is reading the transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we say literatures, reading or Vani, we are hearing or reading, it is also comes under the category of Karmendriya. Like we have hands, legs, we have genitals and voice. So all these Karmendriyas impel an action. So when we want to accomplish any action, we need three things: Jnana, Bala and Kriya. But for the source of all these three things is the sound vibration. That means we have to get that transcendental knowledge from somewhere to act upon it. So to the degree that one becomes a receiver, good receiver and transmitter of this spiritual sound vibration, one can achieve the wonderful revolutionary work in this world. What does that mean? When we like Bhagavad Gita, teaches us literally how to live life in this world. But if we don't study Bhagavad Gita, we actually don't know how to live. We are always struggling how to live. We are always trying to make the ends meet. We are always faltering at each step, and then we don't know what to do when the situation comes. But when we read or when we hear about Bhagavad Gita, we have the knowledge, that is jnana, so that we can act upon it properly with the correct vision. So that is where when we receive the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, that is when we become a receiver, and we become a transmitter when we act upon it. So when we hear or read something, we express it out in three ways: our body, our actions, and our mind. So because we are what we read, or we are what we associate with. So if we associate with materialistic people, our actions reflect the same. Like, let's say I want to, Friday evening, we have two choices. We can go to a satsang, or we can go to a party with a group bunch of people. So we are what we associate with. So when we make a choice like that, based on our choice, our actions reflect. So when we choose that, when we choose transcendental scriptures over material scriptures, we actually have a broader understanding of how to lead the life. And in the previous verse, Narada Muni says, these fruity workers or karmi people who are following this materialistic literatures are like crows. Because, they are always, these materialistic literatures just give sense enjoyment. They just lead to sense enjoyment, but they don't give a permanent solution for a betterment of our lives. So that is the reason we have to give as much low priority as possible. I know we are living in this material world, we are not perfect, but we must give as much low priority as possible to the materialistic literature and fill that with the transcendental literature. And over practice, Prabhupada says, over a period of time or a period of practice, we will get the taste to it. Like a person who has jaundice, initially it tastes bitter, but slowly it will become sweet. When the disease starts getting cured, as the progress is there, so it will become sweet. So similarly, it might be very difficult. I can speak for myself. It is very difficult to sit and read book for, or for that matter, I'll be honest. There are days when, okay, I have this, I have that. I'll do it later. When all those things in the house are done, keep postponing because I don't have taste for it. I think I see this as one of a great opportunity for me at least to open the book. Because this is something like you have to come and present something, so you have to read. It is very hard to give importance because we don't have taste. But I think over the period of time, if we keep on doing and repeating this, I'm telling myself, over a period of time, if I keep on doing it, pretty sure one day we'll get taste for it. Like some people, some devotees we see, they're called, this person is like a walking and talking Bhagavatam. How we can say that? Because they follow what they read. I'm sure Prabhupada is a perfect example for that. He did what he spoke. There is no difference between what he spoke and his action. That's why people were so attracted to him. If we speak something and if we don't follow, then obviously there is no effect of it. Like there is an example, like with the doctor, the kid is taken by his mother to a doctor saying this kid is eating too many sweets, he's not starving. So then the doctor asked them to come late, come back later and later. But then after 40 days, the doctor says, you have to stop eating the sweets now. The mother wonders, why you took so much time just to say this one statement. He says, first I have to follow to say something. So this 40 days I practiced, then because since I experienced it and I followed it, now I am able to tell that, because then only it will have some effect. So Srila Prabhupada followed and showed us as an example what happens when one follows the transcendental literature. So that's why he has become an acharya for this yuga. And this verse actually explains how Prabhupada was inspired to do the translation of the transcendental literature, especially in those days coming from Bengal and him having a thick accent and coming and preaching here, where Westerners didn't even know what he was speaking to begin with. They didn't even know what he was trying to do. But still he was very patient, and because he had great knowledge in his hand, slowly people got attracted to it and actually understood. It also says that, he gives a great example like a house which is on fire. Because when a child is in danger, mother doesn't need any communication. She will immediately understand. Our child, even though with actions, can communicate to the mother. Similarly, when the house is on fire, you don't need to tell, please put water on the house. People will automatically, and for that you don't need a language. It is all automatically understood. Your gesture is already understood by the other person. Similarly, like when these great thinkers, when they are what Prabhupada is saying is these great thinkers who understood the knowledge, regardless of the language, culture, leave all those barriers behind and give this knowledge, even though what may come out of their mouth might be imperfect, or what their literary work might be imperfect, still we should do it because that is the hour of the need. Like an example for imperfection becoming perfect is the illiterate Brahmana who was sitting in front of the Srirangam temple. He was holding the book he cannot read, and all the Brahmanas who are sitting around him are making a mockery of him. Why he doesn't know even a single word. I don't know why we don't know why he is crying, even though he cannot read. He is just ridiculed by people. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he sees that this person is looking at Bhagavad Gita and he's crying. So he genuinely comes and asks a question, what are you doing? So out of many people who are making mockery of him, this Brahmana feels like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking a genuine question. So he says, I'm trying to read Bhagavad Gita, but then why are you crying? Because I'm an illiterate, I cannot read. Then why are you reading? Because it is the instructions of my spiritual master. Okay, then again, why are you crying? And whenever I look at the picture where Krishna is driving the chariot for Arjuna, whenever I look at that picture, it makes me cry. Then again, why are you crying? Then the Brahmana says, how can the Lord take such a menial service for his devotee? The Supreme Lord who can control everything, how can he take up such a menial service? Charioteer, he has to take, whoever is sitting, sometimes he doesn't even have the time to tell the instructions. He might, hit with his leg, he might hit with his hand, whatever is out of the need. But the charioteer has to be very, attentive, adept to the instructions in whatever way they come. He has to take the instructions, ride the chariot, put the the warrior in the right place, and Krishna took that position for his devotee. So that is the reason whenever I see, whenever I see this picture, it makes me cry. How a humble and menial position my Lord can take. After hearing this description, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, even though you are illiterate, you have perfected your life. You have got the essence